How many days in are we? I gotta check this out. 186 straight days of Clippers talk. I'm Adam Osland. Bit of an emergency pod here for you guys because we just got some breaking news. If the Luka Doncic trade was the most shocking trade in NBA history, this might be the most shocking firing given that the season's almost over. Come on. The Nuggets have, what, 3 games left? 3. And they just let go of Mike Malone. This is unbelievable. So I thought I'd join you guys before I produce for Rogan and Rodney today. How does this affect the Clippers? How does the Russ defense team spin this one? The people have been coming after me for a long time. I don't. This is truly shocking. I thought Taylor Jenkins being fired. That was like a month ago now, maybe. That was shocking with Memphis. This is truly bizarre to do this now. I know Denver's not playing well. I know they've been reeling. I know Jamal Murray's out. I know they're not meeting expectations, but my God, to fire Mike Malone and Calvin Booth right now? Who's their interim coach? Is it young Adelman? David Adelman's in? Has his profile been updated yet? Yes, it's already happened. David Leonard Adelman is an American professional basketball coach who is the head coach for the Denver Nuggets of the National Basketball Association. Oh my God. That quickly. I mean, how much of this is just about that loss to Minnesota in double overtime, where Russ smoked a layup and then fouled a three-point shooter? That game goes differently. I mean, to do this, how bad must things be? I'm bringing up Shams Charania's tweets. We're doing this in real time. Apparently, this is tied for the latest coaching change in NBA history, matching Hubie Brown being let go in 80-81. This is unbelievable. What does this mean for the Clippers' chances of getting out of the play-in? Well, some might think the Nuggets are in disarray. This can only help them. The Nuggets are cooked. They're falling apart, and they're a half game in front of the Clippers. They got 3 games left. The Clippers have 4 games left. They have the tiebreaker over the Clippers due to conference record being better. They're 29-20 in conference. Clippers 25-23. Yes, they tied 2-2 in the season series. If the Clippers didn't have that rescheduled game because of the in-season tournament against them, they would have won the season series 2-1. I mean, Jokic had to have signed off on this, right? I know Mike Malone can be prickly. I know he can be tough. He's a hard ass. I like him. I've always liked him. Maybe it's because what he did to the Lakers and the whole the Lakers daddy thing. I liked him in Sacramento, though. And he got a raw deal there because DeMarcus Cousins got hurt. He got meningitis. They were like 9-5, and then they went on a losing skid as soon as DeMarcus Cousins got sick, and he ended up getting fired in a couple of weeks. It was BS. He has proved that to be the wrong move, winning a championship less than 2 years ago. They just won in 2023. How does this happen now? I'm fine with reevaluating things after the season ends. You see what your finished product looks like in the playoffs. We've all talked about Denver still being dangerous because they have Nikola Jokic, the best player in the NBA. If Jamal Murray gets healthy, why couldn't they make a run in the West? Yes, they've been losing. They've been sliding down the standings. But this, Calvin Booth makes more sense to me because they kept losing guys. KCP, Bruce Brown. They chipped away at their championship foundation. They weren't willing, ownership, it looked like, to pay up for guys to stay. But Calvin Booth also, you can say, drafted well. Christian Brown looks good. I think he drafted Michael Porter Jr. Clippers had a chance to get him. I mean, Jamal Murray. Yeah, how long has Calvin Booth been there? I want to check his Wikipedia. I mean, this to me, at first glance, looks like, yeah, he was named assistant general manager in 2017. So he was named the general manager in 2020. They already had Jokic and Jamal Murray. How much did he have to do as the assistant general manager to help out there? They fired both. They cleaned house with 3 games left in the regular season. I get having a sense of urgency. I don't know if this lack of stability is a good thing for your franchise with the playoffs approaching. And yeah, they could fall into the play-in. They have been a mess in some ways. I'm going to play this from Mike Malone and then one other thing for you guys that maybe told us something about the situation before this happened as we're trying to put the pieces together here. This is an all-timer. Taylor Jenkins being fired when he was an all-timer. This? Mike Malone just won a championship less than 2 years ago? As shocking as the Luka Doncic trade was, this might be the most shocking firing in NBA history, given the timing of it, given that he had just won in 2023. So here was Mike Malone recently at a press conference.
It was a brutally honest message, and the guys that are fully won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film. And
this type of stuff sounds like maybe he lost the locker room. I mean, the entire thing reeks of that. But did he lose Jokic? Did he lose Murray? Did he lose MPJ? That quickly?
It was a brutally honest message. And the guys that are fully won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film. And
he's blunt. He's frank. He's tough. He's always been like this. Now, when you're winning, you can get away with it. When you're losing and you have a bottom 10 defense, they're ranked 20th in defensive rating on the season, but they're still fourth offensively. But he was a defensive guy. And if guys aren't buying in, okay, I can kind of see it, but still the timing is crazy. See how it plays out. Maybe David Adelman has a different approach, and the guys said he would be better. Here was Russell Westbrook, though, the other day. This was post-game after their most recent loss, and they have been losing. This was after their loss to the Indiana Pacers at home. after they had just lost to Denver, after the game they lost to the Spurs at home, where Jokic didn't play because he played like 55 minutes the night before with that 60-point triple-double and double overtime against the Timberwolves. How much does this hinge on just that? Could that game have rescued Mike Malone? Could Russ hitting a layup and not fouling a guy on a three-pointer rescue him? What are the Russ defenders saying at this point? How do you defend this? I'm not putting this all on Russ, but listen to this. Listen to this post game after the Pacers game that they lost 125-120. Listen to Russell Westbrook here.
You guys need to clean this right now and get ready for the end of the regular season.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Coach just mentioned the urgency of the situation, trying to avoid the play-in right now. Do you feel like in this locker room there's a sense of urgency?
I don't know, man. Not sure.
Michael Malone called this team one of the most resilient in the league this season. You obviously
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
The regular season.
I'm not sure.
Russ just completely, he's smiling. He's not answering anything. Listen to this question.
Coach just mentioned the urgency of the situation, trying to avoid the play-in right now. Do you feel like in this locker room there's a sense of urgency?
I don't know, man. Not sure.
Do you feel in this locker room that there's a sense of urgency? I don't know, man. Not sure. I was told Russ was good for Denver. I've been pointing out that the on-off numbers say they're better offensively when he's off the floor, and they're better defensively when he's off the floor. This is strange, though. More from Russ.
Michael Malone called this team one of the most resilient in the league this season. You obviously are able to draw from so many experiences. What can you kind of try to draw from to help this team in a situation like this where you're coming?
I don't have the answer for you, man. I wish I did, but unfortunately, I don't.
What? What can you draw from to help this team?
I don't have the answer for you, man. I wish I did, but unfortunately, I don't.
I don't have the answer for you. I wish I did, but unfortunately, I don't. And he just kind of has this weird smirk on his face. It's just bizarre.
What's frustrating you the most right now?
Probably just busy.
Where's the confidence that this group can figure something out in the next 3 games and be on the right path heading into the postseason?
I hope it's high. I can't speak for everybody in the locker room.
So that happened. Mike Malone talked about guys not watching film, pointing to that, people not caring. This is unreal. Unreal. I can't believe this either, Clips or Die. That's why I'm doing the show. What does it mean for the Clippers? So we have been talking about with the standings watch. The Clippers currently in that 5 spot. They're right behind Denver, a half game behind them. The Denver Nuggets have 3 games remaining. The Clippers have 4. Denver's in Sacramento tomorrow, who also fired their head coach and Mike Brown earlier this season and fired Mike Malone 10 years ago. Basically because they went on a losing streak, understandably, when DeMarcus Cousins got meningitis. They started off the season hot. They raised expectations. Their best player was out with illness. They sputtered. They fired Mike Malone. The Denver Nuggets are sliding currently. They fired Mike Malone. 3-7 the last 10 games. They haven't been beating good teams. Is this going to propel them forward? Or do the Clippers have a better chance of passing them in the standings now? How do you guys feel about that? They're in Sacramento tomorrow night, Denver. Clippers obviously tonight against San Antonio, tomorrow against Houston at home. Then Friday night, the Nuggets are hosting the Memphis Grizzlies, who fired their head coach just weeks ago. And I thought that was insane, but much more understandable than this. And then the Nuggets finish in Houston against the Rockets, who might not have anything to play for because I think their magic number is 1 for winning or for being the number 2 seed in the West. They get 1 win or 1 Lakers loss, which could be coming tonight. No KC because it looks like nobody's playing for them. And they're the 2 spot. So are they going to be playing hard against the Clippers tomorrow? Are they going to be playing hard the last game against Denver? I don't know. Sacramento also is looking somewhat secure in the ninth spot. They're 39-40. Dallas is 38-41. So they're a game up on them. Who has the tiebreaker between those two teams? Sacramento can't move up. They can only drop to 10th. I want to see what they did so far this season against Dallas. Because if they already have the tiebreaker against them, they might not have a lot to play for when the Clippers get to them also on Friday up in Sacramento. Sorry if I'm a little bit discombobulated, guys. This just rocked the NBA world. So let's see. The first game against Dallas, Sacramento won. It was quite a while ago, December 30th. I'm guessing they played them 2 more times. They won the second game. Ooh. They won the third game. They have the tiebreaker over Dallas. Sacramento has it. There is a chance, as they have an interim coach with Doug Christie right now, they might not have a lot to play for. Maybe they play hard against Denver tomorrow. And if they win that game, if they can get up a couple games on Dallas as the Mavericks host the Lakers tomorrow in Luka's return, which is going to be insane. This league, it is delivering. So I think that's a winnable game for the Kings against Denver, depending on if this lights a fire under the Nuggets or not. Did they just tune out Mike Malone completely? It seemed like Russell Westbrook was tuned out with what we heard there. I mean, the Denver Nuggets were looking at a top 3 seed. They're 4th, but they aren't beating the Lakers like they used to. And they have been faltering. Nosediving in a tailspin. Just losing 4 in a row to Minnesota, San Antonio, Golden State, and Indiana. But they had won 3 of 4 before that. And the loss to San Antonio, they didn't play anybody. I'm guessing they consulted their stars, right? Shar said, I like the Clippers' chances against Denver in the playoffs today more than yesterday. Son of Rick Adelman, David Adelman, now the head coach of the Denver Nuggets. Levine has been hot. Kings can beat them. Grant Mona's in here said, I remember talking about them sliding, but never expected this. My goodness. No. I mean, let the season play out. Mike Malone has been good with his schemes and strategies in a 7-game series. He has been. It's not just, oh, he has Jokic and that hides all his flaws. No, he's been good. He's been able to light a fire. Look, they blew a 20-point lead in Game 7 at home last year to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Is that a part of this? Did that leave such a sour taste in the Kroenke's mouth, the ownership group, that they were just waiting to get rid of Mike Malone because he's such a hard ass? I love him. Stratos said they obviously did it hoping it galvanizes their team, but it does the opposite and they crash. Memphis has still been kind of up and down since they fired Taylor Jenkins. It hasn't exactly led to them ripping off, a 10-game winning streak, but they have had some sneaky good wins, I guess. They've won 2 in a row. They had the game in Miami with the Ja Morant game winner. They just beat Detroit. They got Charlotte coming up, then Minnesota, then at Denver, then Dallas the final game. But yeah, they had been losing. it didn't ignite anything for them getting rid of their head coach overall. You can't say that at this point. BC said Kings 3-0 over the Mavs. Yep, went through it. I should have just looked at the chat. I know it was Calvin Booth. Rewind, bro. Decca, I'm here. Calvin Booth makes more sense to me. I guess ownership's never going to fire themselves. They're the ones who look like they weren't willing to spend money and keep KCP and keep Bruce Brown and these guys who were integral to their playoff run in 2023 to the finals and went beating the Heat in 5 games. Mike Malone would be a perfect consultant for the Clippers. Win or lose, Adam will still have magnificent eyebrows. Okay. Clue said, this may be our year, Adam. We finally have no drama and health is on the up and good old momentum in our swing. We know one player's not enough. If Jamal Murray gets healthy, he's got a hamstring issue. He's a playoff riser. We've seen it so many times, not just against the Lakers. We saw it against the Clippers. We saw it in the bubble. Decca said luxury tax bill incoming for Denver, and they probably thought, why are we paying this not to be a contender? You got to have guys healthy. The reason they've been losing is because the main reason is they haven't had Jamal Murray. They haven't been healthy. Aaron Gordon's missed a lot of games this season. They've consistently been a bad defense. This has to come down to Mike Malone lost the locker room, they believe. The other part of this is relating to the Clippers. It's another team out there that could, and I saw this post from Jamal Christopher, talking too much about Jamal Murray a second ago. And I'll play something else for you guys from Mike Malone, and this was after Mike Brown got fired by the Sacramento Kings early in the season. Before I bring up this possibility, which is a little bit scary and relates to the Clippers, this is Mike Malone talking about Mike Brown being fired.
Awful. Yeah, awful. And the reason I say that, Matt, is so we're going into a meeting this afternoon. And, the good thing about me is that I'm not on social media. I'm not aware of what's going on outside these walls sometimes. I've had an office with no windows for 10 years and probably taken off 6 years of my life. And I go into the meeting and the coaches say, you hear about Mike Brown? I said, why? What happened? They said he got fired. And at first I was really shocked and surprised. Then I caught myself. So why am I shocked and surprised? For 2 reasons. One, because as an NBA head coach, ultimately you're going to get the blame. When they win, it's going to go to Sabonis and Fox. When you lose, it's going to go to Mike Brown. That's the way it works. And 2, who he works for. So I'm not surprised that Mike Brown got fired because I got fired by the same person. And what really pissed me off about it was the fact that they lost last night, 5th game in a row, I believe. Tough loss, fouling a jump shooter. They had practice this morning. He does his post-game media, and he's in his car going to the airport to fly to LA, and they call him on the phone. No class, no balls. That's what I'll say about that. LA, and they call him on the phone. No class, no balls. That's what I'll say about that.
No class, no balls. That's what I'll say about that. Some people are saying Calvin Booth or Lawrence Frank. Let me be clear about something. We're all talking about, now that the Clippers have a healthy Kawhi, they've won 14 of 17. They look great. They look like a team that would have won 55 or 60 games if they had Kawhi Leonard for the majority of the season. We're all talking about them being a contender at this point, right? They're doing that while under the first apron, while Lawrence Frank cooked this offseason and had them under the first apron. Questioning Lawrence Frank at this point is wild to me with the year he's had. He's closer to executive of the year than somebody that should be on the hot seat. What other teams are contending under the first apron like this with the moves he would make? Like, it's so irrational sometimes. Deathstroke said not getting Levine on the trade deadline caused Booth to get fired. There were rumors of them getting Zach LaVine. I don't know if Zach LaVine would have saved him. Terry said all of a sudden we are the most consistent team in the West. Lakers, Warriors, Mavs had big trades. Denver and Memphis fired their coach. Don't forget about Minnesota. I think they've also won 14 of 17. I don't get ditching Calvin Booth right now. I mean, I would get it more than Mike Malone. Apparently, they never got along. They fired both of them. Less than 2 years away from winning a championship. Less than 2 years out from winning a championship. That is incredible. I had to make this account. Said Mike Malone is a hard ass, never plays young guys, rather play Westbrook. GM was terrible. I applaud ownership for just ripping off the Band-Aid instead of tiptoeing around the issue. We shall see. Because what team, I guess there's one instance of this working, and that would be David Blatt being fired from Cleveland and Coach Lue taking over and them winning in the NBA Finals in 2016. Down 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors. Is there any other example of having a coaching change? Oh, I think in 2006, Stan Van Gundy was let go for Pat Riley during the season, and they went on to win. This is incredible. Incredibly shocking news. I think it was Jamal Christopher. Maybe it was his brother that brought it up. But what you worry about is with all these coaching vacancies, Memphis, Sacramento, Denver now, does somebody come sniffing around Jeff Van Gundy to get him as a head coach? I don't know if he wants to be a head coach at this point. I'm sure Steve Ballmer is paying him well. There's no salary cap for coaches. And it was awesome that they pulled him away from Boston somehow after they won the championship. I don't know what his desire is or aspiration is, but I'm guessing some of these teams will be looking at Jeff Van Gundy this summer. Oh, I remember some people saying Westbrook was better than Chris Dunn. I never felt like that. It's about fit. Mark Jackson's been out there for a while. I'm guessing there's a reason it hasn't happened. I don't know. Look into the situation with him leaving Golden State. L. Frank takes an L on the KPJ trade? Hell no. Hell no. First of all, Milwaukee's still been up and down. Do you not understand? Y'all in tears. If KPJ is still there, we're not seeing Bogey empowered the way he has been on ball. With assists, with creating. Hell no. That is a feather in the cap for Lawrence Frank. That was addition by subtraction. Yes, this is real. I'm still looking for real understanding, but I don't know if we're going to get it. Shams Charania hasn't said anything else. I should look at Matt Moore, who covers the Nuggets. NBA, what is his count? I'll just search Mike Malone, find it that way. Join Tier said, I would have had KPJ behind Bogey for sure. Still should have kept him. No. Coach Lue might have continued to play him. This opened the opportunity for Bogey to be the obvious choice. I don't know who's watching basketball and thinks that Kevin Porter Jr. has been a winning player in this league. I don't get it. I don't get what's happening right now. I mean, I do if he lost the locker room completely, if they're just totally tuning him out and they go to Jokic and say, should we make the change? And Jokic says yes. Okay. I guess you have to. But the timing of it is still Wild. This is one of the most shocking firings in NBA history. They are less than 2 years removed from winning the championship. From the owner screaming, he's the Lakers' daddy. Like, Mike Malone identified something with Jokic. He was a second-round pick. He saw how good he could be. He empowered him. Come on. They were a win away, up 20 in Game 7 at home against Minnesota from being in the Western Conference Finals last year. There are 6 days left in the regular season, and you make this move? This is so bizarre. This is so... It's not unprecedented, I guess. It happened to Hubie Brown around the same time in the early 80s. In my lifetime, I've never seen it. I don't know if we got different post-game from Mike Malone here.
It was a brutally honest message, and the guys that are fully won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping.
The guys who are full of S won't hear it.
And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film. And it was a brutally honest message, and the guys that are full won't hear it.
So I think the Clippers have a better chance than ever of being a top 6 seed. The Denver Nuggets have 3 games left, the Clippers 4. If the Clippers win out, Denver loses a game, they'll be ahead of them. If the Clippers win out and Denver and Minnesota lose games, a game each, they will be the 4 seed. Clippers are in a great spot. Got to win tonight over San Antonio. Appreciate the super chat, Anthony. I got to go. Produce Rogan and Rodney. Love your pregame show starting at 6:30. Just want to give my thoughts on the Mike Malone firing. Unbelievable. This league, TNT knows drama. The NBA knows drama. There's 6 days left in the season. They have 3 games left. You let go of Mike Malone and Calvin Booth. That is incredible. All right, guys. We'll talk to you tonight from Into a Dumb. Clippers, Spurs, pregame, 6:30.